Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Political Fixer Live. I'm Shauna Presley Vircher, the Political Fixer, and it's a little strange to be having this conversation tonight because it is highly possible that this might be our last TikTok Live in the universe as we know it. One of the conversations we're going to be talking about tonight is what is the updated status on TikTok? Where do we all stand with this? Answering some of those questions about what's happening, and then also how do we migrate together as a community. I want to say hi to everyone tonight. It's so great to see you all. I'm so glad that you were able to join us. If you are new to Political Fixer Live, then here's how you can become part of the action. First of all, we love it when you shower us with love and gifts like Stephanie is currently doing that currently for us. We appreciate you, Stephanie. Hi, good night tonight. But also we want to hear your questions, your concerns about the topics that we're talking about. We're going to introduce 3 topics for tonight, and then we'll also take your questions and ask you what other topics you would like to discuss with whatever time we have. And of course, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for our Political Fixer team. Tonight we have Sarah, Eddie, and Mia on our Political Fixer Live with us, making sure that we answer as many of your questions as possible and get through as much content as we can. The whole goal is to give you information, engage you in why this matters to you, and then also try to find positive calls to action. All right, let's dive in. Our 3 topics that we have set up for this evening. We're going to talk about the political buzz. Our political buzz right now, everyone is talking about what's happening with TikTok. Where do we all go? What are the possible outcomes? And we've got not only an update for you, but I've got some news on some ideas we've had as a Political Fixer team on how we can all stay connected. And the second topic we're going to go over, we're going to talk about the Pete Hegseth confirmation hearing. I know you're probably not really wanting to get into a bunch of heavy news right now. We won't go too much into the detail as to what happened. We'll just set the stage. But the reason I want to cover the Hegseth confirmation hearings is 2 reasons. Number 1, we did talk about Hegseth on the show. I'll bring you up to speed. Don't worry if you missed that episode, I'll bring you up live. And then, and I know a lot of you have been taking action with that, but I want to kind of show you as a political strategist what we can read in the tea leaves based on how his confirmation goes. So we're going to talk about not just his confirmation hearing, but also what that means for all of us and how we can brace and prepare accordingly. And then the third thing we're going to do, I'm very excited about, our positive news fix is there's been some movement with all of you helping to launch Equal Rights Now, our movement to get equal rights in the Constitution. We've had hundreds of you step up from across the country. Thousands of you expressed your interest. So we've got an update on what's happening with equal rights for women in the Constitution, both our Plan A, if something happens prior to President Biden leaving office and what we're doing in that direction, and our Plan B. We are definitely not going to let this new administration or this new Congress stand in the way of what is long overdue for women in this country and our allies. Okay, so let's start with TikTok. I don't know how many of you come on here for content and how many of you are also content creators, but I do know that TikTok has been a huge form of community for so many of us. I know that I've had an opportunity to meet not only hundreds and hundreds of you online, but I recently had the opportunity to go to Los Angeles and meet with some of the TikTok team and also about 100 other creators from across the country. And it has formed a bond and a community that is truly unique. And I say that as someone who has been on social media since probably its inception, actually, though that dates me just a little bit. So let's go through where we are, what TikTok has to say, what we can realistically expect. All right, let's start with that. All right. First of all, I'm going to read you a letter that I received from Kim Farrell, the global head of creators for TikTok. So this is the last correspondence that I have received as a creator for TikTok, what TikTok is saying to us directly. This came to me the day before the Supreme Court oral arguments, and we are allowed to share this with you. Sometimes they send us stuff that's private, but we are allowed to share this. They're saying this was ahead of the Supreme Court oral arguments. I want to reiterate that we, TikTok, remain confident in our legal argument, and we believe that we ultimately will prevail in our challenge to the law. Our team has been working diligently to prepare. We're trying to protect the free speech rights of over 170 million Americans who use TikTok. While we do not have specifics on when the court will make its ruling, we'll come back to that in just a second, you can be assured that we will be transparent on the next steps as soon as we have our decision. Supporting our creator community is our top priority. We understand the impact that any decision may have on you, and we're committed to navigating this together. So basically what TikTok is saying is they believe that their case is strong. They don't know when the ruling will come out, and that matters for reasons we'll explain in just a second. But they have committed to let the creators know who generate information, content, and for some people a living on their platform as soon as they know anything. There's an implication there that they might reach out to us for our opinion, but highly doubtful, and something this volatile is probably going to move pretty quickly. Now, let's talk about possible scenarios here. Right now, Congress has passed a law that says that TikTok has to either sell off to American owners or it has to shut down. And one of the ways that they would enforce that shutdown, even though they are primarily, TikTok is held with a Chinese company, one of the ways they would enforce that shutdown is they would say that app stores for Google and the Apple, iPhone App Store and all of those stores, they could no longer carry TikTok, that it would basically make it almost impossible to distribute TikTok. So let's say worst case scenario, no one comes in and buys TikTok, TikTok refuses to sell, and everything goes against them. What happens? Does it all magically go dark? Is it something like the light just switches and everything is no longer there? The answer to that is that most likely what would happen is that the app would disappear from the App Store, but at the same time, you'd still be able to operate, but they wouldn't be able to give you updates and features. And over time, things would start to not work properly. And even though you might not realize it, it's constantly updating in the background. And eventually it would just get wonkier and wonkier. People would stop using it, and the whole thing would start to kind of collapse. It would just become outdated. And that's not to say also that other people, other audience members wouldn't leave the platform if they thought that it was a sinking ship. So that's our worst case scenario. So I do not think that on January 20th, the light switch is going to go off unless TikTok chose to turn it off. That being said, if you have content on TikTok, if you have creators that you're following, then I would highly recommend that you take an opportunity to download the content that you want to some sort of other device, your phone or a hard drive or your laptop, and that you try to get as much information to your community and that you can. Their handles, if their real name is listed, any information that they might have, like their website, try to find those people and connect to them now so that if something happens, then you won't be able to not find them in the future. Now, how do you find me? Well, that one's easy. You would just go to politicalfixer.com, or you could look for us on YouTube at Political Fixer or any of our social handles. But the easiest way is just to go to politicalfixer.com. You're not going to lose me that easily. You're able to reach out directly to us. We've got a real phone number with real people on the other end, an actual email address, and yes, a contact form, even a mailing address if you want to send us a nice card every once in a while. So you can actually reach out to us at any time. If you need something, if you're looking for guidance, if you want to collaborate on something, you can always find us at politicalfixer.com. But I've got another update for you on ways that we connect. Before I do that, let's go ahead and say hi to some of our Fixer family that's on tonight. We have Professor Liberty Esquire, who's joined us tonight. So good to see you online tonight. Stephanie, I shouted you out early, but it's never too many times to say hello to you. I love it when you can join us. And then we also have 75 Corvette. I love it. Thank you so much for being a big part this evening. I also want to say hi to It's Stephanie NASM CNC. It's great to see you. I'm not sure. I think this is 2 Stephanies. I just want to make sure that I get both of them correct. Okay, so let's keep going. What we're talking about, for those of you just joining us, I'm Shauna Presley Vircher, the Political Fixer. This is Political Fixer Live, and our first topic is what happens with TikTok moving forward. All right, let me give you a couple of other updates on TikTok. there's some discussion that someone might buy TikTok. Now, whether or not this would be good or bad depends on the person that would want to buy it, right? Now, TikTok has since published something that says that they are not interested in selling. But this is business. Anything can happen if the price is right. That's what years of growing up and watching Bob Barker has taught me. So we don't really know what's going to happen. However, the devil is in the details, because if TikTok were to sell to a group of people that was extremely conservative, then likely the free speech clampdown would start to begin. The harassment would start to begin. All these community standards that sometimes, yes, we can get frustrated with how tight some of them are, but they do work to try to protect us. Those would all be presumptively removed, like we're seeing over at Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and of course, what we saw on Twitter. Now, there's some rumors that have been floating out there. One of the rumors is that Elon Musk is joining up with a bunch of people, and one app is not enough. He would like TikTok as well. TikTok has flat out denied that and said that it is just that. It is rumor. They weren't cute about it. They weren't pretending to humor it. They were like, no, that is a complete fabrication. So maybe that was just the media testing the waters and running with gossip. Maybe that was him trying to float a test balloon. But TikTok is saying for now that's a no-go. There was also a guy named by the name of Kevin O'Leary. You might know him from Shark Tank, from CNBC, and from other business programming. He has gone on the air and publicly stated that he might want to buy things. Now, I don't know much about Mr. O'Leary, but I do know that he's a well-known conservative, and based on where he was shopping for the funding in Silicon Valley, we could make some assumptions that this would be a conservative takeover. Well, on the other side, not to be outdone, there was another cast member of Shark Tank that they were saying might purchase TikTok, and that was Mark Cuban, who's more on the progressive side. Most notably, Mark Cuban launched a pharmaceutical website where you could buy prescription drugs, with a prescription, of course, for essentially much lower costs than what you could get them at most of your local retailers. He has intentionally published what the margins are and has in some ways really changed the lives of a lot of people by limiting his profits and yet making a profit, and making sure that he tries to reform the system of pharmaceutical medications, prescriptions that people need. Now, why do I bring that up? Because when you have someone that's trying to do good in a space like that, leveraging technology, it's really easy for us to get our hopes up that someone like that would, if there is going to be a change in ownership, it would be someone good like that that's trying to help us out, right? Well, Mark Cuban kind of shut that down. He made a very public announcement. I'm holding his exact words here. I won't read the whole thing, but basically he called out Kevin O'Leary, his former colleague at Shark Tank. And basically he said that O'Leary's offer to buy this was like a bad episode of Shark Tank. He says, you're going to tell TikTok or their bankers to take whatever money you were able to raise from Oracle or whoever, end up with nothing if you get closed down. You're going to ask the guy who owns a bunch of friends with the new administration to push you in and stay in touch. No love lost between these two, apparently. He said, let me say something. You have done the math saying that even if you lose half of your users, you'll sell enough ads to cover your loans. You won't. Ads ain't like they used to be. Keeping users ain't what it used to be. He continues to talk about how this is a bad investment in his mind. And he says, when you sit at a negotiating table, you always look for the sucker. And if you don't see one, ... So either Mark Cuban is playing this huge round of business chess that we can't possibly understand by trolling Kevin O'Leary for wanting to buy TikTok, or he's being genuine and like, this is a bad deal. Don't take it. Don't get yourself involved in this mess. I don't know the relationship. I don't pretend to understand the minds and musings of Mark Cuban, but if you heard that rumor, I would rate it as probably most likely false. All right, so we don't necessarily have a buyer. We don't know what's going to happen with the Supreme Court ruling. I didn't get a chance to watch all of the oral arguments, that I did read a significant amount of them. There was a lot of back and forth. I felt like the Supreme Court asked some really good questions. So for example, they said, you are worried about influence from communication platforms that target Americans that are owned by foreign entities. What about Politico, which is owned by Germany? And they didn't seem to have an answer for that. All right. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. We'll table the Supreme Court decision for now. If the Supreme Court does nothing, if they do not issue a ruling by January 19th, then the way the law stands now, TikTok would have to be pulled from the app stores or sell. So if they do nothing and everything stays the same with the Supreme Court, TikTok still essentially loses because the law is on the books now. Well, there's been a new development as of yesterday with the law that was passed in Congress that would ban TikTok in America if they do not sell. Senators Booker and Markey, I'm good, I just need more coffee, Wyden and Khanna. So these are Cory Booker from New Jersey, Ed Markey from Massachusetts, Ron Wyden from Oregon, and Ro Khanna from California. They introduced a new bill that they would like passed called the Extend the TikTok Deadline Act. Basically, this legislation, if it was passed, it would give ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, an additional 270 days to kind of come up with a way out of this mess, right? Kind of try to end the standoff that we've got right now. So the way that it stands now, you've got a new bill that's being introduced, sponsored by a number of different senators. Now, these are all, I should note, all four of these gentlemen are Democratic senators. So does that mean that all hope is lost since Democrats lost control of the Senate and will soon be turning over the gavel, so to speak, to Republicans? No, because the president-elect, who is a notable MAGA Republican, has also weighed in on this conversation. He has said that he would like TikTok to stay. He was very plain about why. He believes that his voters are on TikTok. He thinks that he did well with TikTok. He thinks his campaign was effective on the TikTok platform, and he would like TikTok to stay open. So now you've got pressure from an incoming person that's going to assume the Oval Office. You've got senators that are introducing a bill that is hopefully going to at least slow things down. And you haven't been able to come up with a replacement for these billions of dollars of revenue that TikTok creates for our economy. What is going to happen remains to be seen. You now know what I know. This is our game board as we know it. This is a great question from Verena Caston 687, which is Congress going after other apps like Facebook, who in fact does sell our information? What a really great question. And the answer to that is no, not as of yet. And there's some rumors and speculation as of why. In my professional opinion, one of the reasons that they are not going after the other apps as of yet is because the other apps are playing ball, so to speak. You have Elon Musk, who's going down to Mar-a-Lago and is a new favorite passenger on the plane of the incoming president, apparently. You have Mark Zuckerberg, who's having these fancy meetings behind closed doors and then promptly changing his meta standards and guidelines to not have fact-checking right after those meetings. All of these other apps are playing ball, and yet you have this company that is based in China that is extremely large, extremely profitable. They didn't feel like they needed to impress anyone, and so now it made them an easy target. I wish that we were talking about the letter of the law. I wish we were having a conversation about privacy and targeting and mental health and online safety, but we're not. We're having a conversation, make no mistake about it, about politics. And TikTok realized that, in my opinion, too late. However, the wind shifted in their favor, and people who used to be against TikTok, now that the election results are in and they went their way, are like, actually, you know what? It's not that bad. But did the waters change too late? Did the tide shift too late to matter? That's what we're waiting to see. So it's a great question. I want to also say to Verena about that question about targeting other apps, there's another reason that I think that apps aren't targeted. And if I'm being very candid, having met and worked with a number of senators and congressional representatives in my career, they don't understand it. With very rare exception, they do not understand the tech. They don't know what's going on. You can't explain it to them. And I have long thought that some sort of introductory course in social media, data, algorithms, and online manipulation would do our country a world of good. But unless there's a donor tied to the end of it, like a little pork chop on a fishing line there, I don't think we're going to get them to sit still and learn anything about this. And these congressional and Senate hearings, unfortunately, unfortunately become a little bit more theater than they do actual information gathering sessions. Okay, 75 Corvette asked the question, do we need to be weary of what Congress's motivation is now because Booker voted for the ban and said so? Great question. I think going back to my they don't really understand it conversation, there's all this fear that the social media companies are going to get in, manipulate, and sell our information. And to be very clear, that has been happening. To Verina's point, Facebook has been selling our information. I want to do an entire documentary, I'm not kidding, so people understand the level that people were manipulated, particularly during the 2016 election where there was no guardrails whatsoever. That has been happening for a long time. You've also got safety issues, bullying, trafficking, etc. That's been happening on every platform since those platforms have existed. What is new and different about TikTok is now they're concerned that they would sell that information to a foreign power who I wouldn't consider an enemy, but definitely a nemesis. Is that fair? So you've got this foreign, scary relationship issue that is kind of looming as a dark cloud over everything. And so that has made TikTok the target on one side. So you do have people that are genuinely concerned about safety and genuinely concerned about our nation's secrets and protecting its citizens. And so they were scared and ginned up into this. And yes, I think they kind of fell for the bait a little bit, but I do think they were genuinely trying to protect people. Again, I think they don't understand the platforms overall. A good friend of mine, Karam Wahid, who is one of the most notable attorneys that I know in North America, he's a personal hero of mine. He said, always be wary of laws that name someone or something specific. They're usually rushed through and poorly written. And that is what's happening now. So if you ever see Katie's Law, it's usually because Katie went down a well somewhere in the middle of America, and now we need to regulate wells everywhere because we'll never have another Katie situation, right? We've all seen those laws, particularly at the state level. And I'm not saying that wells don't need to be made safe, but when you're dealing with the emotion of a situation, the laws tend to be poorly written, rushed through based on fear and public agitation, and they tend to not necessarily be fair or thought all the way out. Okay, so let's talk about, I want to say hi to Rochelle Alexis. She just joined our Political Fixer family. It's so good to meet you, Rochelle. I'm happy you were able to join us tonight. If all of you just joined us, then I want to introduce myself. I'm Shauna Presley Vircher, the Political Fixer. We've been talking about TikTok. We're going to wrap that up shortly, taking your questions on what to expect. We're also going to be covering, excuse me, we're also going to be covering the Hegseth nomination and Equal Rights Now. Hold on one moment. So you guys are about to see how Texan I am because I don't do this because everybody thinks it's a plug, but it's me just being from Texas. It's my Dr. Pepper that I keep on standby. I can't go anywhere without it. And no, I don't get paid for this. It's just my very Texan self, always needing a Dr. Pepper close on hand. Look, it just saved my life. Anyway, all right, so we're going to be talking about Equal Rights Now. And thank you, Mojo Smooch. It's good to see you tonight. We're going to be talking about Equal Rights Now. We're also going to talk about Pete Hegseth. Okay, and then we'll circle back on the TikTok conversation at the end of the hour because we've got some updates on that. Okay, I want to see, let me read this name. So is it LLS at Wellness? I want to make sure I get your name correct. How can they, meaning Congress, make decisions on issues they don't understand, especially when you have all the Ivy League grads in DC? This is such a great and important conversation. And honestly, LLS at Wellness, I feel like that could be an entire show. And the reason is because when you think about it, that people do not need any qualifications, essentially, to run for Congress. Now, there's a beauty in that because theoretically, any of us should be able to represent our country no matter where we come from. But now with the way that our system is currently, then we know what happens. People are the most connected, that have financial resources, that they have powerful parents a lot of the time. They tend to rise to the ranks of power faster. And what does that tend to mean? It means that they don't have a lot of real life experience. Now, you do have some amazing Congress people in both the House and the Senate who do have great experience, that no matter what their upbringing, they at least try to listen. But you can't be experts on everything. And Congress doesn't tend to reward expertise. Congress tends to reward, and the job tends to reward, loyalty to one side or another. How do you feel about Bitcoin? Well, I'll tell you how you feel. Would you like the money from the stack of people that would like Bitcoin to not be regulated? If so, this is how you feel. Or would you like the stack of money from people that would like to institute a new financial regulatory branch for cryptocurrency? Then this is how you feel about Bitcoin. That tends to be what drives conversations and decision making. Donors and special interests. And we're seeing that now. And the problem with the TikTok situation is that we've got some changing ground here, and people that usually are told what to do and how to feel in certain positions of power. Right now, we happen to be talking about a GOP Congress that was following what its leader wanted. He said, shut it down. I hate TikTok. That's got to go. They're like, okay, let's get it done. And they shut it down. Then the election happens, it goes his way, and they're like, just kidding, we don't want to shut it down. But the, car already left the garage. So the short answer is there's not a lot of incentive for people to think and to evolve and to actually slow down and have opinions on things. But that's why all of this organizing that we're trying to do is so important. Because us sitting here and talking about information might not make or feel like it makes much of a difference on our own when we're kind of yelling at the clouds. But I've met so many of you who have expertise in the law, and many of you are educators, you work in medicine. I know we've got some nurses that are on here. We've got parents that are on here. You've got people that are in tech. You've got people that work out in the field doing very hard, important jobs, right? If we can start amplifying your voices and bringing that information to people, and then organizing when it's not just election time, but throughout the legislative season with all of your voices, then we can start to reach some of these people and change their minds and educate and enlighten them. But it's that type of talk that makes this platform very dangerous to certain people who are in power that would like for our voices not to matter. All right, Linz is giving me our cue that it is time to talk about the Equal Rights Amendment. Okay, keep coming with your questions. I want to say hi to Mojo Smooch again, Professor Liberty Esquire. I thought that I saw Divine AF on here tonight. So Divine, if you were on here, I thought I saw you. It's good to see you. I want to say hi to all of our Political Fixer family. We're about to talk about the Equal Rights Amendment, but first I want to let you know a quick update of what we're going to be doing on option A versus option B. If Political Fixer is able to go live next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will do so. If we are not, for whatever reason, because it will be the 21st, if for whatever reason we are not able to go live on TikTok, then we will be going live on YouTube at the exact same time, the exact same handle. At Political Fixer on YouTube Live, and it will be the same time, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Again, you're not getting rid of me that easily. And at the end of the hour, we'll be talking to you about some other things we're working on to stay connected. But I just wanted to reassure you that no matter what happens with TikTok, we're going to keep this conversation and, more importantly, this organizing and amplification of all of you going no matter what happens as these billionaires bicker as billionaires do. Okay, Equal Rights Amendment and Biden. So what has happened with the Equal Rights Amendment is that there is a discrepancy. Some people believe that because we have had 38 states ratify, basically say, yes, women should be added to the Constitution, that should be enough. That's 75% of the states. That's what we were supposed to get as far as our points that we needed to earn our rights in this twisted game show we call American democracy. And so there's a discussion on whether or not President Biden can then order the archivist, that's the name of the position, to then add it to the Constitution. Make it so, done deal. And once you do it, no take backsies, right? So would it work that way? Or would in fact it make it a legal nightmare? And there was some discussion on what was the best way to go. There was a lot of people, over, I believe, 60 House representatives wrote a letter to President Biden. Kirsten Gillibrand, a notable senator who has been an advocate for women's rights for years, she made a personal plea, as did former Secretary Hillary Clinton. They have all been pushing him on this issue. But then the archivist came out publicly and said, listen, I know that you think this could happen, but it is our interpretation based on what the Justice Department has told us that actually we are not allowed to enter this into the Constitution. Why? Because time has expired on the game. It took us too long to get the 38 points. So what are we doing about it? Well, he hasn't left office yet. There is still time, though, with every passing day and from our sources and the way things have gone, we do not believe he'll move it forward. But just today, we supported the ERA Coalition's efforts to do a blitz. Some of you were included in that email to do a texting campaign to the White House. And dozens, I think hundreds of you have signed our petition at equalrightsnow.us. That's equalrightsnow.us. That is the new organization that we founded with all of your help. It is a Federal Elections Commission super PAC. This is what we are going to do to influence the constitutional amendment, to influence legislators to re-ratify if we need to. We're going to get those 38 points again if we have to. And then also to make sure that we put pressure on those who are elected at any level to any position to support the equal rights for women and add us to our U.S. Constitution. You can also go to politicalfixer.com. All of that information is there. It does not cost anything. We, unlike some of those social media outlets, we do not sell your data. We are bound by privacy. The only thing we do is report to the Federal Elections Commission per our compliance rules. So everything is transparent. You do not need to make a donation to sign the petition. And if you want to remain private, you can do so. We can just use your zip code and put anonymous. There's an option there. You can remain private. So what are we going to do with this petition information? Well, we've started transmitting it and making sure in different ways that the White House sees it. Oh, hey, Divine. And we want to make sure that we do what we can in the waning hours of this current administration to maintain pressure. We're also going to start publicly posting and getting that stuff as well. Oh, Hippie's on as well. Good to see you tonight. Hippie Mom Millennial. So that is our plan A. We're going to be doing that until the final hours. However, should things transpire and President Biden not move forward with his role in certification because he thinks it might be futile or it might make things worse by bringing it to the Supreme Court, which is not our biggest fan right now. If that happens, then our backup plan is to go to the 38 states that we're so excited to ratify, and we're not letting the other 12 off the hook. We're going to do a 50-state blitz with all of your help and pressure those state legislators to state that they would like women added to the Constitution. That should restart the clock. We believe that there's more momentum now, and I've got some really exciting news. In case you missed it last week when we announced it on our show, we already, just in private conversations, we haven't even gone really live with this. We're going big with Equal Rights Now starting on January 27th because all of the news is going to be the inauguration the week of the 20th. We want to go ahead and let that little dark cloud pass us by, and then we're going to get to work on January 27th. So a few different points here. Number one, if you want to learn specifically more about how you can get involved, volunteer, take on a role, reach out to your legislators, offer us some guidance, host an event, any of those things, then I'm hosting a YouTube Live this Thursday. This Thursday, day after tomorrow, if you're watching this live right now, I'll be on YouTube Live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We will then post that YouTube Live for everyone to see. We're specifically going to go into detail about the strategic plan. We're going to talk about volunteer opportunities. We're also going to talk about opportunities where you can get compensated for helping. I do not believe that advocacy work has to bankrupt you. It's just not something I believe in. I think we can live large, look nice, and still make a difference. So there are different ways that you can make a difference and take on a paying role with Equal Rights Now and other things where you can bring your talents forward. So all of that will be discussed in more detail on Thursday, YouTube Live at 8:30 Eastern. If you miss it, don't worry. There's a few things you can do. First of all, we're doing weekly newsletters now that we're back from the holidays. We sent out an update just this week, and I think it was on Monday. All the days blur together for me right now. And so you'll be in the loop, and we'll let you know what's going on, how you can get involved. And that newsletter, all you have to do is either reach out on the contact form or sign the petition, and you're automatically on. If you donate, you're also added to that list. But again, you do not need to donate, though we appreciate it. Everything that you do makes a difference, and your time is also precious to us. The other thing that you could do is, in addition to joining us on the YouTube Live and signing up on the website, then you can also make sure that you join us in Texas. Ooh, I zigged when you thought I was gonna zag. That's right. I will be in Texas along with Sarah from the Political Fixer team, who's here every week. You might just not realize it. She's behind the scenes making it go. I will be there as one of the keynotes of the Texas State Democratic Women's Convention. I am extremely excited about this, and we will be doing a training on the Equal Rights Amendment and what happens next. That event is going to be happening from February 7th through February 9th in Austin. Now, we're going to be sending out a lot more information about this. I'm really excited. But even if you're not registered as a Democrat, even if you're not particularly political, if you are not in Texas, none of this matters. If you're not a woman, all are welcome, because we want you to be surrounded by some amazing positive energy. I will be helping to host the gala in the evening on that Saturday for the convention. I'm very excited. I'll be the keynote for that. And I cannot reveal the keynote that is going to be there for the special luncheon, but you are not going to want to miss her. It should be just a great positive event where you can connect with hundreds and hundreds of people and get that motivation that we need. And if we can go deep into the heart of Texas, my home state, and punch them in the nose and show them that we're here, as my dad would say, then you can definitely get motivated to bring that energy back to where you are to make a difference and have all of us have your backs in the process. So how do you register? Well, we're going to be adding a lot to the Political Fixer website, but for now, all you have to do is go to tdw.org. That's Texas Democratic Women, tdw.org/convention. It's just that easy, super painless, and very affordable. And I'll be there, and if you guys ping me and let me know that you registered, then we'll try to get together and do a fun cocktail event or something while I'm in town. And if you're in Texas or going to be nearby, let us know, because we definitely want to connect with as many of our Political Fixer family members as possible. If you can't make it, don't worry. As you would guess, we're going to be creating tons of content and doing our best to make sure you feel like you're in the room, and whatever platform we may find ourselves on, we'll make sure to share it widely. Okay, so Lynn's asked a great question about the Equal Rights Amendment. We hope to see many of you on Thursday at 8:30 Eastern in the evening. However, you can go to equalrightsnow.us. We just got the website up. Everything is official and certified with the Federal Elections Commission. We are an official statewide national organization with, I think, tremendous potential based on all of you coming forward and lending your voice to this. Please sign the petition if you feel comfortable doing so, because over the next few days, we are going to be messaging and reaching out to the White House with your quotes if you give us permission to share them. We'll also be posting them on our socials if you give us permission to share them. But if you don't, we still use your zip code, and we tell elected officials in your area how much support there is. We just don't reveal anything personal about you, and we protect your privacy. So it's up to you, but even remaining anonymous, you still have power in your voice. So I hope that you will raise it. Very excited about that. Okay, I want to say, let's see, hi to 62 and tired. It's so good to see you tonight. I'm glad you're here. I want to say how much I love the gifts. You guys have been so encouraging. This has been a tough week for me, both professionally and personally, but we're making a lot of good progress. It's just hard when we're kind of in flux and all of us are waiting to see what happens next. And what I will say is, no matter what happens, you all have been just so positive, and I'm really excited to stay connected to you. So I hope that you will connect with me on politicalfixer.com, and we'll circle back on that in a bit. I also want to say that it's a Tuesday night. I don't know what's been happening in your world, but I'm sure it's been busy, and yet you took time and you're spending it with me and our Political Fixer team, and we're already at almost 33,000 likes. And considering what tough news we've been talking about, I think that says something for how great and positive and supportive all of you are, because it is not easy to stay positive and motivated some days with what's on our televisions, radios, and interwebs. All right, let's keep going and cover our third topic for tonight, and then we'll take more of your questions, conversations, and topics. If you are a Political Fixer subscriber, first of all, thank you. You make this content possible, and we so appreciate you. And if you're wondering what happens next with our subscriber family, the short answer is we do not know, but we will be meeting next week as a Political Fixer team, and we will be making announcements on what comes next based on what happens with TikTok. If for whatever reason TikTok is no longer a supported app, then we will be honoring your membership of the Political Fixer family on different platforms. We were looking for an excuse to bring you into some of the other stuff that we do anyway, some free online trainings, access to some of our conference calls where you can weigh in on conversations and issues, different events that we're going to and getting special deals, and then yes, more content that is subscriber only. We've been looking for an opportunity to do that. So we're just going to lean in, and how much of that runs through TikTok versus other platforms remains to be seen. But we're, again, not going anywhere, and we're going to look at this as a Christ-opportunity to expand what we do for the subscribers who we value so much. If you haven't done so yet, if you are a subscriber, please go to politicalfixer.com, fill out the contact form, and let us know what your handle is on TikTok and your email address so that no matter what, we can stay connected. We just want to make sure that we get you as much information as we can. And I want to say hi. Is that Anna Christian? I want to make sure to say hi for all of those gifts. Thank you. Anna Christina, Advocacy. Hi, good to see you. You and Linz are just showering us with gifts right now. All right, let's go to the subject that I've been kind of avoiding, and then we'll talk about more fun stuff. All right, let's talk about this Hegseth confirmation. For those of you that have been practicing self-care and not following the news, I'm going to go through this like an inch deep so that you're up to speed, but don't worry, we're going to keep it very PG, which is hard to do with Mr. Hegseth. So Pete Hegseth was nominated for the Secretary of Defense. No big deal. It's just him in charge of essentially all of our foreign affairs and our entire military. There were just a few problems with Mr. Hegseth that we discussed in detail on another episode of Political Fixer Live, but just to run through them in no particular order. He has absolutely zero experience leading any government initiatives, no experience running any type of corporation or large organization. His only experience that we know of, those organizations were run into the ground, and one of them, a nonprofit, had major financial suspicious activity, let's say. He's known as being a Fox News host, and he did serve in the military, but he has essentially no notable experience of anything of this caliber. He was not a general. He didn't serve in a slightly lower position. He is coming out of left field, or I guess we should say MAGA right field, so to speak. My favorite exchange to just talk about the inexperienced side for just a bit, and then we'll cover some of his other lovely facets of his personality, was between he and Senator Tammy Duckworth. I just love her tenacity. So she was talking to him about the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. I had to look and see how that was pronounced. So I do not pretend to be an expert on foreign affairs. Let me just make this clear. But if I was going in front of, God, country, and everybody to be grilled on my experience on foreign affairs, I would know things like this. He didn't think that was important. And so Mr. Hegseth was asked by Senator Tammy Duckworth to talk about what he would do about ASEAN, which is our, again, Association of Southeastern Asian Nations, and what he would be doing with negotiations and different agreements with those nations. And he sounded like a guy that basically said the dog ate his homework. He started stammering and talking about how strong his relationships are with certain countries and started just listing random Asian sounding countries, to which Senator Duckworth had to stop him and literally said, that's great. None of the countries you just mentioned are in this organization. He knows nothing about how government works in the sense of foreign affairs. And again, neither do I, but I'm not up for this job, right? So small issue, which is a learning curve, bigger issues. Apparently he has been accused of a love of drink, shall we say, to the point that he has had to be carried back to his hotel room at work events, and to where it is not something that he's doing socially, but supposedly a known problem, to the point that he made a promise to different Republicans who interviewed him behind closed doors, and has confirmed that he absolutely made this promise that he would not drink anymore if he were confirmed. Notice he didn't say he didn't have a problem. He just said he wouldn't drink anymore if he's confirmed. So they said, okay, so if you do get seen with alcohol, then would you then resign? He dodged the question, as one would expect him to do. He also has been accused of violence against women. Multiple women, multiple time, lawsuits, non-disclosures. And so how some of this came out is because his own mother sent an email years ago accusing him of inappropriate behavior with women and saying how disappointed she was in him as a son. Process that for a second about how bad it must be. He says it's all just, a witch hunt, essentially, that there's no backing to it. They did ask him if it was true and you were guilty of the things these women are saying you did, would that be disqualifying? And he wouldn't answer that either. True sign of someone who's innocent, wouldn't you say? Okay, possibly more disturbing. I know it's hard to rate horrors, but let's try, shall we? He was asked by Senator Slotkin of Michigan, would he use the military against Americans, and refused to answer. He said he's not going to get ahead of himself and have conversations about these hypotheticals. He will not answer whether or not he would uphold the Constitution if his incoming commander-in-chief told him that he was supposed to go against the Constitution. Would he seize Greenland by force? Imagine that someone comes in and they've been on a Survivor type game show island for years, and you're trying to explain to them what's happening in the context of our politics right now. And the reality show apprentice guy is taking office, and right now we're interviewing the Fox News host and having an actual adult conversation about whether or not they will invade Greenland. Whew, this is why it's tough times. Okay, will not say whether or not he would seize Greenland by force. Real things that actually happened. Also was asked, should the United States follow the Geneva Convention? Would not answer them, and just said that he himself has not been party to torture. Okay, it's a bar. It's a really, really low bar, but considering some of the others we've had come through the doors in high positions of power, I guess we'll take it. So why am I telling you all of this? Can you do anything about it? You could try calling and pressuring senators. I know that it might feel futile, but there's one point of vulnerability you might want to consider, which is Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, who basically is yeah, I get it, but I still like the guy. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the vibe of what he said. So since he is someone that presumably at some point would like to get reelected and not primaried, if you wanted to focus your energy, that would be one place to focus it. There's also, Senator Ernst from Iowa. She is a Republican who has expressed some discomfort with confirming his nomination. So you could put that as a pressure point and start the calls and emails to that. Do I think you're going to be able to stop this oncoming locomotive? I don't know. And I'm never going to discourage you from trying. But let's talk about after the decision has been made, after the die has been cast, so to speak. What can we take away from what's happening? If we are powerless, we don't have jobs in Washington. I'm not in the military. I don't pretend to be an expert on foreign affairs, but this stuff matters. That being said, it's frustrating to just watch things and be powerless. So I don't believe in that. Let's just use this as an opportunity to calibrate our power. Let me explain. There are two options here. Either Hegseth, he doesn't look like he's going to just do a Matt Gaetz and say, just kidding, I don't really want all of this heat, I'm leaving the kitchen. That doesn't look likely. So the two given scenarios are that they say yes, and he's confirmed, and congratulations, we have a new talk show host as our Secretary of Defense, or they vote no. Let's start with them voting no. What does that tell us? If they vote no on this confirmation, it will be because of public pressure and the media narrative staying on this guy. There are a number of people that have been nominated for different positions in the cabinet. If this works and they end up saying no, it is because of the actions that so many of you and countless others have taken to put up this public pressure. So if that happens, we need to double down on that strategy in the future and take some lessons away. Stay focused, pick one point, get our talking points together, beat the drum consistently together, make sure the media continues to cover the story. So if that happens, we should continue in that direction. And of course, we'll be doing more trainings and discussions on those specifics. Now, what happens if he gets confirmed? Does that mean that all hope is lost? No. But it does send us a very strong message, because you have someone who's clearly not qualified, who clearly has personality issues, who's not willing to uphold the law, who's clearly genuflecting to the power of the Oval Office. Basically, if you take every characteristic that you would not want for someone in this line of a powerful position, he has all of them. All of them. He doesn't even think that women should be able to serve in the military and combat positions, right? Like, this guy is really extreme and yet might get the job. So what that tells us is, if we can't stop what's happening there at all, if the public pressure is not working, then we need to pivot into building communities to protect and keep safe and kind of brace for what's about to happen. And I don't mean that to sound negative. There is a value in that. We can try to find and connect each other. We can make a difference locally. We can try to make a difference in other people's lives that are the most vulnerable and most likely to be impacted by the people about to take power. But my recommendation is that no matter which of these options happens, and no matter which way we kind of find ourselves going, we are no longer in the land of this isn't fair, this is hypocritical, this violates the law, this does not protect our democracy, this goes against their oath of office, they lied when they were campaigning. All of those things are true, and none of them matter. All right, so from here on out, our course of action is one of two things: either public pressure or build community and protection and support each other in trying to navigate the onslaught about what's to hit. And we're going to be doing that no matter what. And it's not going to be 100% of one or 100% of another. But I have seen a lot of people genuinely shocked by what we're taking in. And I'm just trying to protect our mental health there. I don't think you need to take in every rough cut that's about to come our way against the jaw here. All right. So Crystalline 390 asked, is Hegseth really going to be in the position? I think that this was probably more a question of disbelief rather than asking. The short answer is we don't know. If Republicans vote down party lines, he has the votes. My understanding, to answer Lindsay's question, though my team can correct me here, I believe he just needs 51. I think he just needs a simple majority. I do not think he needs 60 votes, but someone can correct me on that. So really great questions. Mayor Firon, I think, Merfiron. Can I list the two senators I would target again? Absolutely. Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania and Senator Joni Ernst, I believe, from Iowa. One is a Democrat, one is a Republican. Both are rumored to be on the fence. And so if I was going to target them, then Senator Ernst from Iowa and Senator Fetterman is where I would begin. You can also make calls to your own senators. I live in Florida, so mine happen to be Rubio and Voldemort. So it's not going to do me any good to call my senators in my situation, but you might have actual humans in power. So who knows? Okay, so I want to go ahead and say hi to Anna Christina Advocacy again. I want to say hi to Linz again. I want to decline this lovely person who's trying to jump in and co-host with us. 62 and tired. It's Stephanie, NSAM, CNC, and 75 Corvette, as well as Divine AF Girl. You have all been some of our top gift givers so far, and you have just been so positive in the energy that you've put forward with this entire Political Fixer Live, as always. I want to say thank you to all of you who have gotten us at over 40, almost 41,000 likes. So now it's one of my favorite times. I get to not only share some fun news, but take more of your viewer questions. So whatever your questions are, enter them into the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a sneak preview on something we're going to be announcing in the coming days. So I put my political fixer hat on and started working with our lovely team based on the situation we find ourselves in, with TikTok possibly going dark, essentially, though we do think it will take some time, with the Meta new guidelines, with Twitter, in my opinion, being absolutely unusable right now. We've been trying to think of how we can stay connected to all of you. Now, good to see you, Hippie Mom, again. The good news is that we're fairly easy to find. If you look for Political Fixer, you go to politicalfixer.com. All of my socials, all of our contact information is there. If you refer to me by my name, which is Shauna Vercher, not too many of us out there. Even if you misspell it, you tend to find my little Charlie Brown round face when you land there. So it's not really hard to find me, but my concern is I wouldn't be able to reach all of you. So that was my sense of urgency first and foremost. Then my other thing was that I wanted to have a conversation with some of you that are creators and also community builders. Some of you are authors, you run small businesses and law practices and so many other things out in the community. And TikTok has been a big part of growing your organizations and what work you do as well. So we got a little bit aggressive with our solution to this problem. We not only wanted to solve it for us, for Political Fixer, but we also wanted to try to solve it for all of you. So I'm here to announce to you that we are almost done with let's call it the alpha version of a platform that we are building, where you can come on there. There will be a free version of this, and then there'll be features and stuff that we're working on, lots of fun stuff for those content creators and business entrepreneurs out there. But this will be a platform where you can share where you are and how we can reach you no matter what social account you're on. But there's more. One of the things that I love about TikTok is how it connects me to all of you based on our interests. And when we start watching the same videos and sharing things, then it knows that we are going to be quick friends, right? And since I've gotten to meet so many of you in person, it hasn't gotten it wrong yet, right? So I've made a lot of friends and genuine connections through this platform. So this new place that we are creating for all of you, and for anyone, whether you follow us, whether you follow politics or not, then we want to make sure that you can find each other. So we're going to ask you, if you want, to fill out tags and categories about who you are and what you're interested in, who you want to connect with. Do you want to connect with women? Do you want to connect with people that care about the same issues you do? Do you want to connect with other writers or content creators, small business owners, Black-owned businesses, LGBTQ community, right? How do you want to connect? And then we will make sure that you are connected to each other. So we will be announcing exactly where to go within about 48 hours. But in the meantime, if you want to sign up for free and get notified about when you can put some of your information on this platform for other people to find you, then just go to politicalfixer.com and we will alert you. If you could just put in the comments that that's why you're reaching out, we'll make sure to add you to our announcement list. Now, if you don't do that, if you don't find time, you start to get sidetracked after this live and you forget to reach out on politicalfixer.com, how will you find out how to get on this new platform where you can connect with everyone no matter what platform you hop to? Blue sky, red sea, yellow cloud, green clover, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to all end up. But if you don't make it to contact us, I will be posting things over the next several days on TikTok. We know we at least have until the 19th. So if you can, follow me at Political Fixer. You can just unfollow me later if you want to. It's cool. But follow me at Political Fixer here. We're also going to be making sure that we post videos about the platform on YouTube Live. Lucky you, same handle, at Political Fixer. And then we're going to find ways for you to share this information with all of your audiences and connections as quickly as possible. We're working with our platform provider, DreamHost, and some really great app providers. We're using whatever resources we can. You found out so much about me this evening. My Texas love of Dr. Pepper, again, not an endorsement, just a passion that I have. And also that I'm a little bit of a nerd, okay? A lot of a nerd. And those of you who know me are like, well, yeah. And one of the things is I grew up programming computers, literally used to chew on the cords of the keyboards. That's right, keyboards used to have cords, kids, when my dad was putting himself through night school. I have loved computers ever since I could read. And so me putting my hair in a ponytail, putting on a Star Wars t-shirt, propping up and doing some code this weekend while watching football, what better time is there for me? So I've been working with the development team, and we'll have something up for you in the coming hours so that we can all stay connected. In the meantime, share your information with us and let us know if you have other ideas. I've looked at, let's do a quick run through of what's there. We have Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky. We're going to start posting there. YouTube Live now has similar algorithms and features as TikTok. In fact, they just introduced coins and gifts. I'm not here as a sponsor. Again, I do not get paid for any of this, just trying to keep you informed. Lemon 8, as in lemon, the fruit, and then the number 8. I looked into them. It is kind of an Instagram-y type platform, but I want to let you know it's owned by ByteDance, the same people as TikTok. So chances are if one goes, the others go. We looked into Fanbase. It looks like it's an emerging platform that is encouraging people to post their videos. We'll let you know more about that. If you have other things, it looks like you guys are suggesting other platforms. So any other platforms you want us to check out, let us know. And what we'll be doing is we'll be posting where you can find us on them, and we'll be testing them out and trying to share that information with as many of you as possible. But our big announcement is that we have a platform that we're building that will be live within hours, at least in this, I wouldn't even call it a beta version. Let's just call it an alpha version and be kind. We're doing the best that we can under these circumstances, but it will at least be someplace that you can choose what information you want to share and what information you want to keep private, and then find ways to connect to each other. That is our biggest concern, is that we would no longer be able to reach out to each other like this. Okay, we're going to go with some viewer questions now. So Raya, R-A-Y-A, said, any historical precedent about surviving fascism in the United States? Are we in uncharted territory? Great question, Raya. And the answer is, okay, I'm not a historian, so I'm going to put it based on my understanding and my opinion on where we are now. I think that we are in uncharted waters. And so that can be scary. So in some ways, having someone that has risen to power a second time and is like now, Monster 2.0, that can be super scary, right? But let me just kind of dial it back a little bit and talk about what I know about the human context about what we're facing. As someone who has been in politics and seen some really dark things in private conversations and behind closed doors that sometimes make you question the human idea that everyone is born good, I can tell you that there are some constants, which is that people at certain levels of power that behave in certain ways need to hold on to that power. And just like we are seeing a situation where billionaires never have enough money, why are billionaires so worried about what taxes they pay? Right? Because they can never have enough. It's never going to be enough to feed them. They're like monsters that are always hungry, right? I'm not saying all billionaires, I'm not saying all people in power, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Power, it's something that never quenches whatever is missing and broken in certain people. So that means you have to keep getting more and more and more. So it's not enough to have met a president. Now you need to campaign with that president. And then once you've campaigned with that president, you need to ride on his plane. And then once you've ridden in his plane, you need to be added to as a member of his staff. And once you've been added as a member of his staff, you've got to cut out other people that aren't cool, that would threaten your access to this power. We're already starting to see them bicker with each other. And that, in my opinion, besides our resilience and organizing and us also being smarter and stronger this time, I believe that that human need that these men have to just basically be king of the rock, so to speak, that is going to be a distraction for them, and it's going to slow down some of the progress that we are all, or I guess the steps backward that we are all so concerned about. So what I would say is this: while there is no necessarily precedents about surviving fascism, we definitely do have our share of dark moments in our history, right? And the way that we got through those moments in history was by organizing, by looking out for one another, by raising our voices, by trying to speak truth to power when it is safe for our families to do so. And sometimes in history, people did it when it wasn't so safe, as we know. And so what I would encourage you to do is rest and get ready and look at how you can serve others. The fear is a wasted emotion. It is a wasted emotion. And this dread of, oh my gosh, what next? It's valid, but not helpful. So I would put that energy into facing out. I like to say, look up, not down, look out, not in. And I find that that is a really good stabilizing force to keep me putting one foot in front of the other. And when you have those bad days, just know that you're not having them alone. We're here. Where here is remains to be seen, but good question, Raya. Okay. So what else do we have? Do we have more questions? We've got the fascism question. We've got, Lynn's asked about votes. I think they need 51 votes to be confirmed. We're confirming that. We talked about the ERA. Okay, so let's wrap with a rundown. We covered a lot tonight. Woo, flew by, didn't it? But this is important stuff. So if you have your pens and paper ready, if you have your notes app on your phone and can still hear my lovely voice knitting on while you take some notes here, whatever you need to do, grab that scrap of paper because I'm going to run down the things that we did. But good news, if you miss everything, don't worry. We're going to be posting this episode to YouTube Live. We'll post the entire episode to YouTube Live, and you can find it at Political Fixer, and you can fast forward the parts that are boring or half speed, like when I almost choked and needed to get a Dr. Pepper. Okay, or run it on slow-mo and make me a meme. Whatever makes you happy. I'm here to entertain you. All right, our rundown of tonight's program and how it impacts you. Let's start with our calendar, shall we? So we are planning on being on TikTok Live next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then putting that episode after it has aired and after it processes, it usually takes a day or two, onto YouTube for you to view at any time at Political Fixer. All right, so that is the plan. If something happens and it is not possible to do the TikTok Live next Tuesday on TikTok, we will bring Political Fixer Live to YouTube Live. Do I understand YouTube Live? No, we shall learn together. Good news, we'll have a practice run because we will be meeting this Thursday on YouTube Live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That is this Thursday. That would make it the 16th. I got this. The 16th, Thursday, for an Equal Rights Now update, where we are with the Equal Rights Amendment, but more importantly, what you can do to help. We're going to talk about a deeper dive into the plan and what we're going to need everyone to do. And yes, there will be paid opportunities with this organization and lots of ways that you can help as volunteers, no matter what your background or how often you've gotten involved in political advocacy work. Even if you're new, we want you. If you're an ally to women, we want you. If you come in with a positive attitude, no matter what your faith, your background, what kind of money you have, how many friends you have, we want you. This movement is going to take everyone, but I do believe that we can do it. We can get women in the Constitution even now. All right, so that is Thursday. I also want you to mark your calendars for a really fun opportunity to join me and some of the team members, including Sarah, in Austin for the Texas State Democratic Women Convention. I will be doing not only a training at the convention, and you can ask whatever questions you have and come in there and get engaged. There's going to be a lot of trainings and great curriculum happening during that convention. It's the weekend of February 7th through the 9th, and we'll close out getting all dolled up at the gala Saturday evening. Well, I will be the keynote. I'm very honored to do that, and I promise you it will be a good time. If you let us know that you're coming, then we'll connect, and we're talking about bringing free gifts for our Political Fixer family as well. So if you get an opportunity to register, you can go to TDW, that's TexasDemocraticWomen.org/convention, and we'll be bringing you all of the updates and highlights if you're unable to join us. And if you have stuff going on in your communities, let us know, because we want to participate in as much as we can. So I'm excited to be in Texas, in Austin, February 7th through the 9th, and I hope to see many of you there. It'll be on our website shortly. It just got confirmed. Okay, so we also talked about Pete Hegseth and his confirmation. His hearings just happened today. I saw that they said there would be no additional hearings, so I believe that 4.5 hours is all that we get for our Secretary of Defense position. I do not know yet when the vote will be happening. However, if you would like to lobby your senator, I highly recommend that you do so. If you would like to lobby senators that we know are in the middle, I recommend that you go after Fetterman in Pennsylvania and Ernst in Iowa. All right, and hopefully you're not getting hand cramp. We're almost done with our rundown. We covered so much today. I'm proud of us. Okay, the other thing that you're going to do, please, for me, if you do not mind, for my peace of mind, is I would love it if you share with me the different platforms that you're considering hopping to or expanding to, no matter what happens on this lovely clock app of ours, and also how I can stay connected to you. Sometimes when you share email addresses and links in the chat and in DMs, it doesn't get to me properly. It's just one of the kinks of this software. So if you are so kind, please go to politicalfixer.com and just let me know how I can reach you and support you. And if you would like, please let me know that you would like to be updated when our new platform, I'm so excited. Sarah came up with the name, guys. She hit it out of the park. I'm excited. You'll get videos from us in the next couple of days that give you all the details. But if you want to be on this platform, there's going to be a free level of membership where you can share where you go, no matter what happens with any platform. And when things change, you just log in and you change that information. And possibly even better than that, you can connect to each other. We're going to come up with ways that we can find each other and continue to build our communities. All right, I see Blue Sky, I see Red Note, I see YouTube. There's what I love about Red Note, and Katrina Fairchild just mentioned this. Red Note is an app that we've been looking into, and it's also based in China. So if we all go to Red Note, does that then get shut down there too? For me, I don't know what's going to happen on this crazy World Wide Web, but we're going to try to spread our message as far as we can. And so we'll be providing you on politicalfixer.com with other ways to get all of our socials as they continue to grow and shift. And also when we meet on Thursday on the Equal Rights Amendment, we'll be announcing what those socials are as well. So maybe you don't want to watch me choke on Dr. Pepper in an evening, but you'd still like to stay informed about getting your rights in the Constitution. Don't worry, we've got you covered. You don't have to follow me at Political Fixer to stay informed. We're going to have special socials just for equal rights now, and we will announce those on Thursday and make sure all of you have access to those shortly after. Well, I love the crown. I love the crown of flowers. What a great way to go out this evening. I see so many people that are, I see Guava Girl, I see Hippie Mom Millennial, I see Divine AF Girl, I see just so many of our friends here. I'm optimistic that I'll get to see you here next Tuesday, but if not, please, please, please stay connected and let's find a way to keep causing some good trouble together. Professor Liberty Esquire, Anna Christina, I mean, I just see so many great people. Hold on, I saw, oh, Susanna R. Loyal Beltrain, do you see me? I do see you, Susanna. Hopefully it's Susanna or Susanna. I apologize if I mispronounced it. I love the little stars in your eyes. I see Cynthia Fontaine, Psychic Medium. Cynthia, why didn't I just ask you what was going to happen? You just now announced that you're here, girl. We could have shut this whole conversation down before. Tell us what you're seeing in the stars here, and I'm not being facetious. All right, we have reached over 58,000 likes. We have our top viewers for the evening. Let's run them down. The people that have shared our content the most, the person that shared our content the most was Professor Liberty Esquire. Give her a hand, everyone. My friend, I'm so happy she's on here tonight. Our number 3 viewer of the evening for this Political Fixer Live. No surprise to those of us who know and love her. Divine AF Girl, so good to see you. I'm so happy that you were on tonight. Our number 2 viewer for tonight for Political Fixer Live was Anna Christina Advocacy. If you are half as good at advocacy as you were creating an inviting and amazing space tonight, then I want to be on your team, Anna Christina. Way to go. I also want to announce our number 1 viewer, who is Mojo Smooch. You came in, you did your thing, man. I just love it. You just dominated and took over at the end. I've been watching the scoreboard. Way to go with all of your engagement, encouragement, and fun. And I also want to say a special hello to not just our subscriber family today, but also our new Fixer family member, Rachel, Alexis. If you all can, please follow each other. Rachel, Divine AF Girl, Mojo Smooch, Anna Christina Advocacy, Professor Liberty Esquire. Follow each other as much as possible. I and my team will be following all of the top gifters and the top engagement audience members. As many of you as TikTok will connect us to, we are going to be following you after the show. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch the aired episodes of Political Fixer Live at Political Fixer. Connect with us at politicalfixer.com. And I don't know where our home will be next Tuesday, but I hope to see you there. In the meantime, practice mental health, practice advocacy for something that you care about and love on Monday. Turn off the news, go be with people you care about and love, make a difference, participate in an activity to honor the late Martin Luther King Jr. and our Black family members and our African American history, celebrate women in some way, and celebrate immigrants in some way, celebrate our LGBTQ community, celebrate our hardworking men and women in all of our jobs that do the jobs no one likes to talk about, celebrate something amazing about America, or celebrate yourself and take good care of yourself. But please just turn off the news on the 20th. And understand it will be okay. I don't know how, I don't know what's going to happen, but you're not in it alone. We're in it together. And no matter what platform we're on, you're not going to shut this Texas mouth down. Are you kidding me? A multi-billion-dollar Supreme Court lawsuit? Ha! I laugh in the face of it. All right, everyone. Have a great night. Be safe, and I will see you all soon.